Welcome back to the Palace. I'm your host, Crown Vic, and in this video, I will be talking to you about my 10-month NoFap journey. This is a testimony on the benefits that I've experienced, what are the challenges, and once again, this is an honest testimony on my journey of semen retention. Stay tuned for that. So I started the journey honestly last February, in the middle of February of 2022. And I will honestly say that in the beginning it is hard, especially when you have a urge, so to speak, to go to certain sites to see what you are normally watching. And not only that, but also when you find yourself at that downtime, you know what I mean, when you're kind of bored and you don't really have anything to do that you think you know that you're supposed to be doing, and you just like, well, I'm just kind of bored and I'm sitting here, or even you might find yourself stressed out and you're like, okay, well, I feel like doing what I normally do, go to a certain site and then find myself releasing to relieve some of the stress that might be building up. So the first week, while in my experience doing this, is of course it's going to be tough, because that is a impulse at this time. That's kind of a what they call, or what you call, a habit. So we have a habit of doing something. The body even is used to doing that said something, and that first week is definitely going to go through that experience. The first day is very tough and difficult. The third day gets a little, by the third day you start to notice the difference. And I can say this, that throughout my year, when it comes to that crippling anxiety, I have not experienced that in my 10-month journey. But I will say that it doesn't make me Superman either, so it's not like when I go out into the public I feel like approaching everybody and I'm always in an upbeat mood. It's more to it than that, so if you want to get to that state of mind where you are Superman and you are in this upbeat mood, that has to do with way more than just NoFap. NoFap is kind of like very subtle benefits. So I may not have experienced that crippling anxiety, and by that I mean, have you ever felt like a absolute shell of yourself? Kind of like when you walk outside, you almost feel like you're going to collapse, because not necessarily because you don't have energy per se, but you have this crippling anxiety where it's almost like something inside of you is missing and you're not even truly yourself. Almost like if someone were to touch you, you will start to just shatter and implode, so to speak. And that's what I mean by crippling anxiety that I would experience oftentimes, the day after the release, right? Especially that release when it comes to certain websites. Maybe it's not that way when it comes to being with someone that you love, but it definitely is when you're just watching websites and you're just constantly having that release. And so my experience, once again, is that crippling anxiety is minimized. It may not have gone away completely. In my experience, if there is anxiety, I don't think I've experienced anxiety in a long time, to tell you the truth. I've experienced nervousness still, so that doesn't continue. That doesn't go away. Like, there are certain human characteristics, that we're just human, and we're just gonna constantly experience. But like, such as nervousness, but not crippling nervousness. It's not that, oh, I absolutely cannot do this because is something wrong with me. More so, it's like I don't feel like doing it. You know, if there is that, I don't. If when it comes to communication, if it's not crippling anxiety and interacting with that person, it just if I feel like interacting with that person or not. So it's that. So not only that, but I also would like to say this: like the first week of NoFap, after that first week, I will say that between the first and the second week, I've experienced myself a kind of a Superman feeling. So I will say that though, because in that first 2 weeks, you know, even the first 3 weeks, I felt as if I'm strong. You know, I felt as if I can talk to several people. You know, and I will say there is a difference between the first few weeks of NoFap versus the several months of NoFap. So the first month, for example, of NoFap, I did feel that Superman, you know, feeling. But that second month, it started to kind of plateau. And by the third month, I felt as if, I don't know if this feeling is really, you know, for real or not. So in other words, it's almost like, did I release? Because I don't really feel any different than say if I did or did not. So I won't say that the crippling anxiety by the third month came back, but I will say, or should I say by the end of the third month, so like going into the fourth month. But I will say that I haven't experienced that Superman feeling like I did the first 2 months of NoFap. So I kind of chalk it up, looking like in hindsight now, like retrospect. I feel like that I just got used to that feeling, that subtle feeling, the self-assured feeling, to the point where it became normalized for me. And so that's kind of why I felt as if I don't really notice any lasting effect of NoFap. Maybe because kind of like going to the gym, for example, because if you notice my shorts, I go to the gym a lot, and arguably around 4 to 6 times a week, more often 6 times a week. But as you go to the gym, for example, although you're building muscle and you're constantly working out, sometimes you get stronger. You don't really notice the muscles that's being built up sometimes. And even some people say that when you go to the gym and you leave, you start to feel good. Some of us, we go to the gym, we've been going to the gym so long that we no longer just, like, you go to the gym and just kind of part of us. You know, it's like I don't really notice this relief anymore leaving the gym, because it's kind of part of you. Because if I don't go to the gym, I start to feel bad, like I'm just like missing out on, you know, the excitement of going to the gym. You know, gym becomes kind of a part of me at that point. And that's kind of like NoFap. So NoFap is just like a part of me to the point where I don't really notice the benefits. I guess it just kind of comes along with it. And if you are on this journey yourself, my advice for you is similar to what a lot of people I've seen on this NoFap journey say. You have to focus on something else. And I want to also bring that to the spotlight of this channel, and I will eventually do that. Is mindset is everything. I want to just emphasize how powerful the mind is. I used to, when I was growing up, I used to hear my uncle, he used to pastor of my local church, and he would quote what someone else said, and he said that the mind was a terrible thing to lose. You know, growing up when I'm young, in grade school, elementary, middle school, when I first heard this terminology, I thought, well, he's talking about education, so you need to learn enough about books. And at that time, I equated education and books with boring, you know, subject matter of school, things that's not really important. That's some grown-up stuff. But as you get older, it kind of becomes a grown up understanding. Beyond that, the mind is beyond just books and school. Mind and mindset is literally your reality. We literally are living in our own reality. We say we have common reality, but really everybody experiences reality differently. Like, give you an example: a colorblind person will not see blue the same way that you see blue. And not only that, but someone who has a different background than you, say for example, this person is from Brazil and they moved to the neighborhood where you grew up in. So this person's view of your neighborhood is going to be a lot different than your view of that neighborhood. Not only that, but that person's language is going to be different. That person's skin and ethnicity is going to be different. We all are experiencing literally different realities. And so mindset is all it's really the essential of that reality. And so once we understand that, I forgot where I was going with that exactly, but ultimately a mindset is pretty much everything. And once we understand how knowledge, how the mind plays a part. Oh yeah, now I remember where I was going with it. Sorry about that. But yeah, this is off the top of my head. But ultimately what I was trying to say is, it's like the quote that I believe I heard from The Secret, that quote of Martin Luther King said, "Energy flows where attention goes." So literally your reality, your focus creates your reality. And if you're focusing on NoFap, if you're focusing on, oh, I gotta stop looking at these websites, you're still giving that your energy. So in order to overcome, the addiction or any addiction, it's literally don't give it your energy. But here's the kick. It's not don't do it and then replace it with nothing else. You have to replace it with something else. If you don't have anything to replace it with, then find out, look at your past, your childhood self. What did you used to like doing? Like for me growing up, I used to like drawing comic books, I used to like music, I used to like pretty much anything creative, even video making, which I got away from as I started to get older, and I'm kind of getting back to that now. And so ultimately you have to figure out what it is that you are passionate about, and then start focusing on that. Start focusing on areas where you want to grow in. Alright, so what you start to notice, and what I start to realize, is that before I started going to the gym, I had to force myself to go into the gym. Whether it was five minutes in the gym and then leave, and then eventually I would extend it to 15 minutes, then 30 minutes, and then eventually I could barely get out the gym. Like I'm always in there for like an hour. And it's like I look forward to going to the gym because it became a part of me. It's the same thing when it comes to your hobbies or whatever it is that you're passionate with, especially the areas where you want to grow in. You have to start out small, like lift the tiny weights first, and then start going for the big weights, and then eventually you start to kind of look forward to that, right? And then you start to realize that time is going by, and you're not even thinking about NoFap at that time. You're not thinking about those sites anymore, because you're focusing on what you're passionate about, or you're focusing on actually going out there and being social. So NoFap by itself is not an instant cure. Alright, all it is just stopping an addiction. It's kind of like stopping cigarettes. It's like stopping drinking, like always drinking coffee in the morning and replacing it with maybe tea, or you not replacing it with anything at all. Let's say fruits and vegetables, which will give you energy, throughout your day. And so you're replacing it with something that is healthy for your lifestyle and your mindset. And in that regards, it improves your life. That is really what it is all about. So my experience with NoFap, I had the mindset that I was going to always have, it's just going to instantly motivate me. But that's not the truth. Alright, so because I found myself, doing, let's say, playing video games or still being antisocial, so it's not just gonna make you instantly want to go out and socialize. You still have to want to go out there and socialize. You still have to want to grow. You still have to want to be a better person. And you still got to pull from within yourself. But here's the thing, once again, like when it comes to NoFap, it gets rid of certain things like that crippling anxiety, the addiction to always want to do what, will drain your energy, so to speak. And also, it does give you that subtle energy stability, so to speak. So some people recommend, like releasing weekly or bi-weekly. It's all up to you. Like here's my thing. As I get older, everybody's gonna have their own opinion. Like you could literally be a PhD on a subject matter, but you're not going to convince anybody of that subject matter because of your PhD about what you know, even what you can improve. Because if they are stuck on one idea about that subject matter, they don't care what you got. They don't care nothing about your research, about what you prove. They're going to say that, look, I believe that the world is flat, and I don't care if you take me out in spaceship and I see that the world is round. I don't care, because I believe that the world is flat. Everyone's going to have their own opinion, their own philosophy on life. And as far as the NoFap thing, some people say, you want to retain for every now and then, not bust, not release until, like, let's say the end of the week or end of next week or so on and so forth. You don't want to do it for months at a time. To each their own, because the ancient wise men, they used to like hold on to the seed for a long time, for years, versus modern times. You think that you're smarter than the ancient people who built architects that lasted for eons, lasted for thousands of years. But everyone has their own opinion. But really what I figured out is that people only know what they know, and modern science is the same way. They only know what they can prove, and a lot of the things that they can prove is not even close to what is really out there. So once again, this is a testimony of my testimony / rant on NoFap. And what I will say about NoFap, you still gotta be 10 months in. Look, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not this person who started up Fortune 5 companies and is raking in millions of dollars and profiting, so on and so forth. You still gotta be self-motivated, because there are gonna be people who are no-fapping and still procrastinating with work, and there's gonna be people who are constantly fapping and they still get work done. But the difference, once again, is that what I notice is that certain things, such as crippling anxiety, I guess you could say also self-confidence, is not that bad as it would be if I was like constantly, going to the sites and releasing and stuff of that nature. But here's what really helps though. It's a diet, exercise, and also like every day you have something to look forward to. And then it's also meditation, focusing on the attitude of gratitude. So NoFap is just like a small component to the journey of self-healing, the self-help, and all these things. So don't think that NoFap is just going to be a magic cure. Maybe it's a cure for you, but in my 10-month journey, once again, of semen retention, right, not going to these sites, it's not a magic cure in my testimony and my experience, but it might be for you. Who knows? So once again, this is Crown Vic from the Palace. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe, like the channel. I'll have more videos in the future. Stay tuned for those.